and welcome to part 19 of Chrono Trigger. After the Battle of Zenin Bridge, we can now head onto the southern continent and explore some new territory. Now in 1000 AD there is an area that is completely desolate and deserted, but in 600 AD there actually is a village here. This is the village of Dorino, so feel free to take a quick peek around this area. The first place you should probably visit is the Elder's house, and that is because the village elder here is going to be having a short little cutscene with a familiar face. If you remember Toma from the first time we came to 600 AD, he's over here and he's getting money for some expedition to somewhere or something or other. That will actually play a much bigger role way later in the game. That involves the Rainbow Shell. That's a very late game thing. You'll also get lots of word about the hero. The hero! Everyone is talking about the hero! I don't understand. Who is this hero? I like how this guy's like, you look weird. This person will actually tell you the name of the 3 generals of Magus. Those names will come in handy, because guess what? They're going to be boss fights later on in the game. After talking to the elder, you can head to the inn, and Toma's now going to be here, and he's going to be like, buy me a drink! 30 gold. Do it. You want to. It'll help you advance a side quest that will take place later on in the game. He's going to mention an odd beast that has taken up a residence in the southern woods. A monstrous frog. A frog, you say? I've never met any frogs. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Want to hear something interesting? This guy actually gives very important advice. There are some monsters called Ogans that wield hammers. Burn them. Use fire magic on them, and then they become little sissies, and they're really easy to beat. Now, if you need to heal up, I recommend staying here at the inn. It's 50 gold, and for some odd reason, you get a free item for sleeping here, and you probably don't even know you get it. I've read about this, and I only found out about it recently. You get an item called an ambrosia, and it restores a random amount of health or magic. It's a pretty interesting item, but you will only get this item if it's the first time you've ever gotten the item. Or if you don't have any of them in your inventory. So for some odd reason, the innkeepers slip that into your pockets in the middle of the night. That's a little bit creepy. I don't really get it. Like I said, I didn't even know that happened, but there you have it. And then you could go to the shop. The shop sells the usuals. Actually, this one only sells consumables. If you need to stock up, feel free to. And there's, of course, some residents that you can talk about. Now, this home has something important. Remember that Naga bromide from a long time ago? Yeah, if you have that, you can trade it with this guy. And he's going to give you an item for it, because the Naga bromide is completely useless. This item is a... what did he give me? A strength capsule? I wasn't reading. I think he gave me a strength capsule. So I actually looked up what a Naga bromide was because I was curious. Because I never really knew what a Naga bromide was. I mean, what is it? Why did this guy want one of those so much? Let's just say the game was made in Japan and it's Japanese, and it may be a provocative picture of a Naga. Why that guy wants a picture? I'm just gonna stop talking. It creeps me out. I should have never looked it up. You can pick up some mid-ethers in this house, and you can meet somebody named Fiona, and her husband is out fighting a war. Now, Fiona doesn't really have anything important to do at this point in time, but she will take place in a side quest way later down the road. So just keep that in mind. Now, if you head south, this will lead you back to Poor. There is a place called the Cursed Woods to the west. We are going to take care of that at a later point in time. You can stay at the Poor Inn down here if you'd like. There's also a market. inside the market, you can pick up a free strength capsule laying around on the ground over there. And this guy's just like, with this armor, I can fight the Fiend Ward. Oh yeah, and collapse on the ground. I'm such a genius. You can buy Porian Berets here. It's worth mentioning that the only place you can get a Porian Beret in the game is actually buying one. So if you're looking to complete the game 100%, you gotta buy it. You can also pick up golden suits here. It's a much stronger armor than what you've been using in the game, so it's up to you if you want to pick that up. We'll be getting stronger armors and weapons later on in the game. Take a stop by this inn, and we are going to run into Toma again. And he tracked down the rainbow shell, and yeah, he ran out of money. He spent it all drinking. Yeah. The naughty little urchin, Tata, is the legendary hero. What? For real? You mean this hero is a little boy? For real? Like, I'm hearing this correctly. This magical hero that we've heard so much about. It's a little boy. Well then. Not really sure if the kingdom is in good hands, but I'll let them all believe that he's the hero. This house doesn't really have anything interesting. They just talk about the hero. The hero! This hero is so important. This lady mentions something about spice jerky. If you happen to have any spice jerky on her, give it to her for free. It'll come in handy later on in the game. If you don't want to do that right now, it's fine. You have to buy it for 9900 and 1000 AD. I'll cover that later when I do the side quest. There's also 2 sealed chests over to the right. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll come back to it later. So, where do we want to head next in the game? Well, the next place to go is to the Adoro Mountains. I'm going to switch up my party real quick because you should have Luca on your party for this place. You need fire magic of some sort. It'll be incredibly helpful for you. Anyways, welcome to the Adoro Mountains. We can fight many enemies here. You can pick up 300 gold. These are the Ogans that guy was talking about, but they're only threatening if they're wielding a hammer. So don't worry about the Ogans too much if they don't have any hammers. The hammers are what makes them threatening. As regular Ogans, they're one-shottable with Chrono. There's also some bellbirds you can fight. There's nothing too interesting about them, but they do have status effects. Status effects can be annoying. I actually got confused, so I guess it did its trick. The confusion status effect works a lot like it does in, say, Pokemon. If you attack, well, it basically makes you attack randomly, and you can attack your allies. I just picked up a dual tech that I haven't had before. That is Fire Punch. It's a pretty straightforward tech. It's just a tech between Luca and Marla, where you punch with fire. Yay! Nothing too exciting there. Anyways, head up to the north, and we can go exploring to an area that might not be so obvious. Right here is an item called the Mirage Hand. It's a very easily missable item, and it's quite an upgrade to Robo's current arm. So pick that up, and if you're using Robo, it will be incredibly helpful at this point in the game. And then if you attempt to climb the steps... okay. It was a boy who ran by. There's no way that was the hero everyone's been talking about. Oh my goodness. That's the hero everyone's been talking about. What is wrong with these people? Do they actually believe he's a hero? These people are crazy. There's no way that boy's a hero. So basically, he was trying to find some legendary sword, you know, to slay Magus and kill the Fiend Lord and blah 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 blah. I'm guessing that didn't go too well for Tata. Tata was a no-go. Anyways, moving along, we can climb up the steps. You can pick up a free Athenian water over here, kind of concealed, but not really. And then we could head over here, and you can also pick up an Ether. This Ogun you can actually talk to, and he won't fight you. Instead, you have to trigger the battle by standing on a certain point. And this will give you battle with a new enemy. That is the Freelancer. Freelancers, they're pretty quick enemies. They're pretty generic. There isn't much to say about them, but they do hit reasonably, moderately hard. I forgot to use fire magic on the Ogun. Remember, if you see an Ogun and it has a hammer, use some fire magic on it, because you can't really do a lot of damage to it unless you get rid of its hammer. Just use flamethrower. There's no reason to be wasting a lot of tech points on an Ogun. Just use flamethrower, the hammer will be gone, and you'll be on your way to killing it very, very quickly. So, head on up over this way, and there isn't too much of interest aside from more enemies. That's right, more Oguns. This one has a pairing that has one generic Ogun and one with a hammer. Now, I don't really know if I like using Robo in this place. As I said earlier in the walkthrough, I'm trying to be as versatile with the teams as possible. I want to try to use all the playable characters somewhat moderately equally. So for that reason, I'm using Robo here. I personally think Chrono, Marla, Luca is a little bit more strong, but it's up to you. If you want to use, without a doubt, bring Luca to this place. This place is considerably more difficult when you don't have Luca. I remember my friend Majore's Fan. If you've watched my videos for a while, you might remember him. He played through Chrono Trigger the first time, and he refused to use Luca. He did not like Luca at all. So he didn't use Luca on this mountain. He had a very miserable experience getting through this mountain. These Oguns are not easy to fight without the power of fire. But be careful, play with fire, and you get burned. That's a Chrono Trigger joke, you'll get it later, because we haven't gotten to the point where that joke makes sense. Anywho, up here into this room, we can fight some more Freelancers. Freelancers don't have a lot of hit points to knock away, but they do hit moderately fast. At this point in the game, Adoro Mountains aren't... I don't know if this place is too tricky. I personally think that at this point, like, the abandoned sewers were probably one of the trickiest places in the game for a beginner. Then Adoro Mountains, honestly, if you remember to bring Luca, you're in good shape. That's really what it comes down to. And as I've mentioned before, when you play an RPG, the best thing you could do is talk to everybody. Because if you talk to everybody, then you got the message from that guy that, hey, you should totally use fire on those Ogun things. So, I mean, if you talk to everybody, you would know what to do against the Oguns. Honestly, that's the only enemy in this place that really has any sort of gimmick to it. Most of the enemies here are pretty straightforward and generic. Oops. Stumbling on my words. You can grab an Athenian water there, and then we could head up the steps this way. There are a lot of items you can get in this place. You can pick up a golden helm. You probably don't have another one. I'm going to equip it on... I'm going to equip this on Luca and that on Robo. Chances are Robo is the only person you can put the golden helm on, because Chrono will probably have your other golden helm. The enemies here also don't fight in bulk that much, which makes it a lot easier to combat them, because you can heal outside of battle relatively easy. Remember, this is probably the first place in the game where the ability to switch parties becomes relevant. If you wanted to, you could switch your party up at any time. If you realize that, hey, I needed Luca and I forgot her, you can switch up your party, and then now Marla's on your team, and then you can use Aura to heal your party with Marla. It's a cheap kind of way of using the game's mechanics to your advantage. I personally don't really like rotating team parties that much, but you can do it if you'd like. Anyways, more fights to be had, more Ogans, more Freelancers. The enemy variety here honestly isn't that exciting. Once you've seen the enemies once, you've seen them all pretty much. Punch away, burn away, slash away, kill, kill, kill. I'm actually surprised that the enemies are this dull in this place. I don't know why they didn't give more, like, the last major place we were at, Hekron Cave, had a lot of enemy variety, and this place just doesn't have that much variety. It's pretty much the same enemies. Now in this area there is something new. There is a Freelancer, and he is throwing rocks at you. Yes, he is throwing rocks at you. If you get hit by those rocks, you're going to take a little bit of hit point damage. It's not a significant amount, but it is worth noting, so don't stand around and AFK and let him keep throwing rocks at you, because you're going to come back to no health. Pick up 600 gold here. A lot of gold. Lots and lots of gold. Very helpful. And then we can come up here and view the pretty scenery. This is one of the most pretty scenes in the entire game. It's a very, very beautiful place to look at. Head over here, you could grab some more gold, 300 gold to be exact, and then we can come over this way. Freelancers and another Bellbird are your enemies to combat here. Unfortunately, I was hoping they would line up in a way I could hit them, multiple of them at once. Ooh, I can hit with Flamethrower, I'll do that. Oh no, 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 I wanted to use Cyclone. I'm sad now. If you wait around, you can use different types of techs. Now, depending on where you're at in the game, I'm a little bit behind in my tech points. I used to spam a lot of Marla, and it would be around this point in the game where I'd be getting like Lightning 2 and Ice 2. So if you're getting those techs around this point in the game, I'd say you're relatively on par, maybe a little bit ahead of the game. I don't have them yet. I don't know how much it is until I get those techs. But getting those kind of techs are really helpful. They cost a lot of magic points, but they hit all enemies on the screen. Let me check my techs real quick. Cleave is next. Interesting. Cure is next. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I think I'm a little bit behind on the tech game. I don't know. Anyways, there are some waterfalls here that we can actually fall down. And yeah, that's gotta hurt. That's gotta break some backs. And you can pick up a silver stud here. A silver stud is a really solid item, and it reduces your MP consumption by half. Use this on something that uses magic. It's a very, very good item. One of my personal favorite accessories in the game is the silver stud, and later you actually get access to an upgraded version, the golden stud, which reduces MP consumption by 75%. These items are very, very good, so you definitely want to fall down the waterfall. You can also pick up a silver earring, and what this does is boost your max hit points by 25%. At this point in the game, it's a pretty useful item. However, keep in mind that by the time you reach the end of the game, your hit points will max at 999, which basically obsoletes the item and makes it useless at some point in the game. Okay, skip through the battle just to speed things up. You can pick up a mid potion right there, and then we can head over this way, and I really like this. You can actually talk to this guy. He's gonna be like, "Quiet, you'll ruin our ambush." But yeah, he's such a sneaky ninja. He literally told me his plans to ambush me. See? He's gonna ambush me. I don't know if you were too sneaky there. I'm not really sure that was much of an ambush. You told me you were going to ambush me. That's not very effective at all. Anyways, it's just 2 more Freelancers, nothing too bad. Something I haven't talked about too much in the game is critical hits. Every character in the game has a critical hit animation, so you'll know when you critical hit. When you get a critical hit, you'll end up dealing twice the damage you normally would, and critical hits actually play a pretty key part in the game. There are some weapons that have much higher critical hit rates, and that can help you determine which kind of weapon you want to use. For the most part, the progression of weapons in Chrono Trigger is pretty linear, as in the next weapon you get is stronger than the last weapon. But when you get to the very end of the game, there's sometimes some options that you can choose between, and it becomes personal preference. Mountains are so nice. This is such a nice view. Hey, buddy, you have anything for me? You really aren't gonna leave me alone, huh? Nope, not until you give me something. He's gonna give you a magic capsule if you talk to him enough, and then he'll just go back to saying mountains are so nice. I thought that was kind of funny that the game developers put that in. You have to actually be smart enough to talk to him a few times, so just keep that in mind. Mountains are so nice. Anyways, we have now reached a save point. We are almost to the top of the Adoro Mountains, but I will finish that next time. So that wraps up this video. Thank you, and good night.